RuneScape is 25 years old. A lot has changed in a quarter of a century, and some skills that many players might see as foundational or intrinsic to the game, I feel are either redundant or entirely unnecessary. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about and play RuneScape, and today I'm going to be talking about the 3 skills in RuneScape that I think are either useless, redundant, or need a major overhaul. What gives me the authority to say what skills are necessary? Please leave a like. The first skill we're going to talk about today is Constitution. Now, Constitution is a combat skill that determines how many life points a player has. These life points show how much damage a player can take, and once they drop to 0, the player dies. Now, gaining additional hit points as you train is intrinsic to almost any game with combat. Okay, so why is it on this list? Well, my question is, why is this a skill at all? I mean, you can't train it directly. It only levels up the more you train combat skills, which makes sense, but then why does that mean it should be its own skill? It's the only passive skill in the skills list, and being passive doesn't seem to fit with the very notion of skills in RuneScape. One of the things I love about RuneScape is the skill-based leveling system. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you don't have one big overall level that goes up as you play the game. Each skill individually can be leveled up and trained, which, you know, a lot of games don't do. If you want to grow stronger in a certain skill, you train that skill. But the only skill this is not true for is Constitution. If you want to train Constitution, you have to train other skills, which will then give you XP in Constitution. This makes Constitution the only skill that doesn't act like a typical skill. Okay, but we need to get more hit points. Obviously, the stronger our character gets, we need to get more hit points. And we don't have one big overall level like in most MMOs, so how else would we get more hit points if we don't have a Constitution skill? Well, I think players should gain additional hit points when their combat level increases. After all, when you see a character's level, quote unquote, that is their combat level, not their overall level like in other MMOs. So if we have this number, this one number that can tell you how strong a character is, I think you should get more hit points when that level goes up. Now, you'll have to rebalance it a little bit. You'll probably have to get more hit points when you go up a combat level, because your combat level does not go up as much as your individual levels do. So that would have to be reworked, but I think that would make more sense. And this also means players won't have to do anything different to gain hit points. You still have to train combat, but it won't be masquerading as a skill, because this guy does not belong on the list. He needs to get out of here. You are not a skill, buddy. I don't know what you're doing here. Get off the list. The next skill we're going to talk about is Strength, and this might be the one that is going to be the most controversial on this list. Strength, if you don't know, is a skill that boosts a player's damage output and the effectiveness of melee abilities. It's also needed to equip certain weapons and armor, use specific shortcuts, and complete various quests. Increasing damage output as you train is also ubiquitous with most games, especially MMOs, but making Strength its own skill makes no sense to me. You're telling me I can level up my melee, my attack, to 99, but I can't hit hard because my Strength is 1? How does that even make any sense? I've trained my attack skill so proficiently that I'm a master of attack, but I can't hit hard because my Strength is 1? They've split what should be one skill into 2. When people refer to melee combat, they are lumping attack and strength together. So why not actually combine the 2 skills into one skill called melee? Imagine if magic was split into magical attack and magical strength. It wouldn't make any sense. If melee is split into 2, why not split the other combat skills? Some might argue that it's more realistic to have a strength skill as part of melee, as it takes physical strength to wield melee weapons. Well, if we're talking about realism, isn't it unrealistic to say that swinging melee weapons around for hours would not make you physically stronger or more proficient with those weapons? If I'm swinging a great axe around for hours and hours and hours and hours, You're telling me I didn't gain any strength? My muscles stayed the same size? I'm not more proficient with this weapon than I was before? That doesn't make any sense to me. To me, it only makes sense that the more I train with handheld weapons, the harder I should be able to hit with them. Which makes it more frustrating that I have to train 2 skills when I should really only have to train 1. I doubt they'll ever change this, but if they did, I would be ecstatic. But I don't think they will, because I think for a lot of people, this is intrinsic to RuneScape, and they don't want it to be changed because they just see it as a core element of RuneScape, even though it doesn't really make any sense. The last skill we're going to talk about today is agility. Now, if you don't know what agility is, for some reason, in case you don't know, higher agility grants you access to different shortcuts around the map, and it allows your run energy to replenish much faster. This skill is actually different than the other 2 on the list because I don't want this one removed, and I don't think it's redundant, but I do think it should be majorly overhauled. I've stated before that I am not a fan of the way run energy works in RuneScape, and you might not like that opinion. A lot of people have commented on those videos and said agility makes perfect sense, and that's just the way the game works, and I need to get over it. But what I've explained before is it feels like an outdated method. And you know what? It felt outdated even in 2007, because some people will say old school RuneScape is, it's based on the 2007 version of the game. It's a retro game. So of course, it's going to have retro game mechanics. But it felt out of date even back in 2007. So even in 2007, which is the version of the game that old school is based on, it was not a modern game mechanic. It was out of date even back then. The default movement speed being a slow walk is just crazy to me. Now, when you look at the history of this game, it makes sense, right? The RuneScape Classic map was much smaller when walking was made the default, and they didn't even have running back then. You couldn't run. You could only walk. But it was okay because the map was tiny. When the game first came out, it was tiny. So walking did not feel grueling at all. It wasn't that bad. But as the map grew, they started adding running to make it easier to cross the map quickly because it was just taking way too long to get around. Now, 25 years later, Gielinor is huge, both in RuneScape 4 and old school RuneScape, and walking across the map is bearable. Yes, before you say it, there are teleportation methods that can be unlocked, bought, or crafted. But, in my opinion, it's not the players' jobs to find in-game solutions to broken game mechanics. If something is broken, just because the players have found a way around it does not get the game developers off the hook. That thing is still broken, that thing still needs to be fixed. And just because the solution to that problem has become a part of your personal game loop does not mean that it's not a bad thing that needs to be fixed. So I said I don't want to take agility out. So what would we do? Well, I think RuneScape needs to make jogging the default movement speed. And I think this speed should either be the same speed as the current run speed or slightly slower, like just a little bit slower if it seems like running is too fast. But it should definitely be way faster than walking. So you make jogging the default movement speed. Then running can be more like sprinting. So when you turn on your run, it's faster than the current run speed. You're sprinting instead of jogging. And training agility would still increase the speed run energy replenishes, allow players to use certain shortcuts, but it would also allow the player to sprint faster and faster. So according to this new way of doing things, your sprint speed would increase the higher level agility you have, and your run energy would replenish a lot faster. Again, I doubt they'll ever change this because it's seen as fundamental to RuneScape's game loop by many people, but I hope one day my dreams will come true. And again, it's not as bad in RuneScape 4 as it is in old school, but there is still part of that game mechanic in RuneScape 4, and sometimes you do still bump into it, and it's really annoying. It just makes no sense to me. If you think we should keep it around, let me know in the comments. Explain why you think that the game mechanic is okay as far as a gameplay perspective. As I've already explained, yes, old school RuneScape is a retro game, but even back in 2007, this felt outdated because like I said, they only put it in because the map was small, and then they only added running as the faster movement because even as the map grew, it was still much smaller than it is today. So I definitely think this needs an overhaul, but if you disagree, let me know. I'd like to hear it. Alright, those are the skills that I think are useless, redundant, or in serious need of a redesign. Well, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you think I'm way off base? Let me know in the comments. I honestly would love to know what you think. Even if you disagree with me and what I said made you really mad, still let me know, because I'd love to hear it. Beyond just like, boo, I hate that you said that. Tell me why. Tell me why you disagree. Tell me why you think these skills should be left alone, if that is what you think. If you agree with me and there are some additional points about these skills that I didn't bring up that you think should have been brought up, let me know that too. If there's something I missed that you think is further evidence that these skills need to be looked at, let me know down in the comments. I would love to see that. I love having discussions about RuneScape in the comments. It's one of my favorite parts of having this YouTube channel and making videos, so let's continue the discussion in the comments. I will be down there. I read every single comment, so please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And also, please leave a like on this video if you like it, because that really helps me. It really does. It might seem like it's just a small little thing, but if you like this video, it tells YouTube that you liked it, and YouTube shows it to more people, and more people see my stuff, and then that helps me make more and more videos. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, especially all the way to the end. I really appreciate everybody who watches my stuff and interacts with me, and that's what makes this all worthwhile. Thank you so much. If you want to see my reaction to Jagex's March Roundup and their roadmap for April, check out this video. But until next time, have fun playing RuneScape, everybody. Bye!